I'm going to talk with you guys now about family studies. So each one of my children do their independent work based on the grade that they're in, but then we all join together to do family studies. I base my family studies on the Charlotte Mason method. If you're not familiar with the Charlotte Mason method is, Sonia Schaefer has a wonderful YouTube channel that explains it perfectly. I could not even begin to do it the way that she does, but I will just give you a brief synopsis. Basically, she offers these, Sonia Schaefer does, and it's Bible, geography, and history all combined into one. She gives you an entire book list of everything that you need throughout the year. For geography, you study a different region of the world each year. This year, we're going to be studying Africa. She has a 6-year history cycle. We started last year in the middle because we knew that we wanted to go to Rome, and I wanted Rome to come alive for the children. But this year, we are actually going way back to the very beginning where I probably should have started to make it easier on myself in Genesis. We're going to be studying the pyramids in ancient Egypt, and we're going to be studying the region of Africa. And then we have a book list that she gives us of all the books that we're going to need. Adam and His Kin is in there. That's going to be for my 7th grader to read. Boy of the Pyramid, I'll read this aloud as one of the living books for all of the students. Ancient Egypt, The Magic Treehouse, The Mummies in the Morning. This will be for my 2nd grader. And then Letters from Egypt, that'll be for my 7th grader. And then we have Exodus Companion, our commentary for children, Leviticus commentary for children, and Numbers commentary for children, which helped me in teaching the Bible lesson of the Old Testament for this year. And then in combination with that, that's our history, geography, and Bible. That will do all of those as family studies together. But then you see that there are some history books that the older students will read on their own. But I will read some of them aloud together. In combination with this geography, we also will read from 2 books called Hungry Planet as well as Material World. Those books are wonderful for making geography come alive. It shows what people around the world eat and where they live and what their community is like. It's really fun to study that way. Then we also have the stuff they left behind as a part of the history. And inside here, this is from last year, you find all of these different photographs that you'll be studying, and they just come up every once in a while in your reading, and it makes history come alive in that way too, to be able to see the pictures. The next part of family studies is we do a picture study. A picture study is we choose an artist. We choose 3 artists actually to study throughout the year. Sonia Schaefer sells these on her website, or you can get them on eBay. Simply Charlotte Mason is what it goes by. And we do 3 terms throughout the year. Each are 12 weeks. And you just study one of these artists for each of the terms. And basically a picture study is as simple as me holding up a picture for 30 to 60 seconds, asking the children to get the picture in their mind's eye. They close their eyes, and then I ask them some questions. And then she also has a booklet in here that helps you ask more in-depth questions and gives you information on each of the pictures. And it also gives you a short bio on the artist that you can use one of the weeks of picture study to learn more about him. We only do picture study 1 day a week. Again, if you want to know more about how to actually do the Charlotte Mason method, I suggest you check out Sonia Schaefer. I will just say briefly that the Charlotte Mason method is a combination of the way that you structure your day and building habits within your home and in your children. So for example, we do picture study 1 day out of the week, and we do history 3 days out of the week. And the way that we work it is so that way it works different parts of the children's minds, so that way they don't get fussy or agitated or like they want to get up from the lesson. So for example, we'd start our day with Bible, and then maybe we'd move outside for a science experiment, and then we'd come back in to do a picture study. Then we move into math, and then maybe we'd finish the day with a handicraft. So it gets different parts of their minds engaged, so that way the learning can flow kind of easily and they don't get frustrated. And it does seem to really help. So I've really been enjoying this method. The next part of family studies is poetry. We pick 1 poet to study, and I don't have my poetry book here. I've loaned it to a friend. You pick 1 poet to study, and for your older students, you can have them memorize one of the poems of that poet for the year. I just print it off and I put it in their binder so that way they can see it every single day, and then they have one day out of the week that they really designate to studying for about 10 to 15 minutes of memorizing that poetry. And then I just take one day out of the week to read a poem to the children from this poet. And after the whole year, before you realize it, the children are knowing this poet, they recognize his style, and you're learning about his biography as well throughout the year. And it might seem like one poet for the whole year, that's a long time, but it's a really wonderful way for them to get to know one poet. So our individual studies, the kids do on their own, and then family study time, we come together and we use that Charlotte Mason method. So again, Bible, geography, and history all in here. Then we do a picture study, and then we do a poet that we study, and then we also do a music study. Music study we do on Tuesdays, and we pick 3 musicians throughout the year, just like with the picture study, and we study 1 musician for each of the 12 weeks in each term. And the way I do that is maybe I'll do a formal lesson where I show them a YouTube video on the biography of that musician, and like last year we studied Bach and Mozart, and so they'll listen to it during lunch maybe, and the only time we'll have a formal lesson is for maybe 10 to 15 minutes on a Tuesday, and that is when I really want them to concentrate on the music, or I'll tell them about the person's life. Otherwise, we just try to work the music in throughout that term at lunchtime, or while we're doing art or a handicraft or something like that. The next part is a handicraft that I keep mentioning. We would choose our handicraft days on Fridays. So we would do 3 handicrafts throughout the year. And I try to combine the handicrafts with something else that we're learning. So maybe I'll combine it to science or to history. We wove baskets last year when we were studying about art forms and that sort of thing from Roman times. And a handicraft is a great thing that they can work on every Friday. So it's one craft that they continue to work on to complete a project. So it's not something that has to be completed in one day. And then the other thing that we do is art. Art is also something that we just do one day out of the week, and it's just a very simple art lesson, but it's so that way they can learn different mediums. It might be painting or drawing, and sometimes I use YouTube to help me with that. Sometimes we do mixed media, photography, that sort of thing. And then the other part of our family studies, and I believe the final part, is our nature study. I love Charlotte Mason's method for nature study. It's one of my favorite things that we do. We take a Wednesday walk and we bring a nature journal with us. And again, you can look up the Charlotte Mason method. She has wonderful books to go along with how to do a nature study. And then we will use our nature books to just sketch things that we find. Sometimes I have it more structured to go along with something that we're studying in science maybe, or something that we're studying in history. It just depends on how I want to connect it. And sometimes it's just, we're just going to go on a nature walk. So those are our family studies. Those are things that we all do together. I hope it was helpful.